Very solid day, but I thought very soft day. I thought we were soft on both sides of the ball up front. Didn't like what the defense was doing, defensive line. Thought we were soft in our front 7 linebackers. Even offensive line didn't come off the ball like we had been in the last practice. That was very disappointing, especially coming off a day of rest when they should have been a little fresher. I think we got to keep adjusting to the heat. Practicing 5:30 in the morning, we got to get them out here in the heat. We've had to go there, and I think it's hurt us a little bit. But hopefully that'll adjust, and we'll make some adjustments. Did some good things in practice, but got to get much better. But the part that bothered me today, we weren't as physical, and that bothers me on both sides. Any questions?
How's Terrence Brooks? I saw he had a blue on.
He's always had it on. He's had it since the first day. I mean, he's been in the blue every day, so he's fine. We're just limiting don't want guys get certain bangs or things, and the guys don't want to take a thud shot here until we get live. We'll limit some of those guys' repetition, but he's had that on for every day.
Was Keelan limited today too?
Yeah, he was limited. He'll be back full speed, probably another day and a half. But he went out and did a bunch of individual drills, got some one-on-one stuff, moving around. But he'll be fine. Just going to take a couple more days to get that stiffness out.
What have you seen from Terrence Brooks so far this camp with being in that starting spot?
Well, I mean, he played the best going in. And here's the other thing. You got to see somebody behind him to move him out. You know what I'm saying? And he's probably played the most consistent. Still had some mistakes, but he's doing some good things. He's a cover guy. He's making some plays, and he's learning to be much more consistent. Safety, you got a lot to learn at safety because you're in the pass game, you're in the run game. I mean, it's a combination where your fits are and where you're helping. I mean, you know, safety is can be a very complicated situation. So, but he's doing a nice job.
Can you talk about your depth at the running back position, and specifically how hard James Wilder's going to have to fight for carries this year?
Yeah, I hope they all do. Chris Thompson and Devontae and James will be the first 3, and you can bring Lonnie in there, be that one. So, but guys, we say that. You tell me very few running backs go through this year healthy. It never happens. Those guys get beat on, pounded upon. It's like D tackles. And we thought we had all these D tackles. Now look what we're at. We're all banged up and bruised up. Those guys in that physical part of the game now, they're going to get banged and bruised. They'll all get their carries. But that's a great thing that they got to fight for those carries because they got to develop that consistency and trust that they build in us to get on the field.
With that being said, how do you like how Wilder's looking?
I think he's doing a very good job. I think he's really did a nice job of assignments. I think he had one missed assignment on the day today, which was, for the most part, I mean, occasionally you'll have one, but last 3 or 4 days hadn't had any. He's been running very physical, catching the ball very well, pass block, very good. He is one thing as a pass block. He's a big physical guy, so I have not had any complaints with James right now.
Talk about the importance of getting balance, more balance if you believe you need more balance in the offense from the running game.
We do. You got it. I mean, that's what you always believe. I think it makes your play action better, and then you got to be able to run the ball in those short yardage situations. You got to run at the end of the game to run out the clock, and you can do it with a quarterback, but then you're taking chances. Those things will have to happen. But we're getting much more. We have been more physical up front. I've been very pleased up front. The offensive line today, I thought we were very average, but I thought we were the same way on defense. So, I mean, I'd be mad at the offensive line and look up, and all of a sudden there go a ball running down the middle of the field untouched. So, I mean, it was going on both sides. But we got to get more physical and be able to keep balance and keep people honest and be able to play action to create big plays, create some one-on-ones, and so people can't go double your wideouts all day. But then at the same time, those wideouts got to do the same thing. So make some plays down the field. But we got to have balance. There's no doubt.
Was that last year the low numbers running? Was that just a product of everything offensive line?
I think it was at the end. The beginning we struggled to get continuity. Then we got some continuity. Ran the ball very well there for about a 4 or 5 week span. Then we just gradually got beat up the more we went. And losing Chris was tremendous. I say that all the time. But also losing all those linemen was tremendous. I mean, it was a burden all the way around.
Christian Jones really taking a leadership role.
Doing some nice things. I like what Christian's doing. He's athletic. He flashes at you. He's so athletic and long. Doing a better job in the box now, taking things on. And for the most part, Christian's had a very good camp.
Cameron Irving, he said he felt much more natural each day he comes out here.
He does.
Tackle. Do you see it?
No doubt. I mean, he can displace you in the run. He can pass block, and when he even goes to get beat, it's like all good guys. You play on that edge, you're going to get beat. The key is the great ones can have enough athleticism to recover and maybe not totally block you, but run you by, get a hand on you so you don't get a clean hit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the one thing he can do. I mean, even when Brandon wins his share of them, but even when Brandon beats him a lot of times, then Cameron will recover. And then there's sometimes he'll stone Brandon. I mean, it's a battle every day, and you see him fitting in much, much more. And then there's certain calls and blitzes and looks as we're trying to give him a lot of. Today was a lot of movement too. I think that was one reason you had some of those. I made it all a ton of blitzing and movement up front because you got to handle those situations. And he's getting much more comfortable with those things now.
As a coach, can you get a feel on whether or not this is a championship team 2 weeks into training camp and how they practice, their attitude?
No. The ones I've been on, I never have. You can watch them and tell me, I'd be happy. You can't. I mean, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And there's a lot of things that have to happen between now and then. And there's going to be a lot of things, good and bad, happen between now and then. And how you adjust to them is on a daily basis. I mean, it's no way.
After a week of practice, can you tell a big difference from last year?
Yeah, I do. I think we're much more physical. I said up front. I think I think we've been able to run the ball much better in camp. The line of scrimmage. I think our knowledge of what we're doing, getting in the system, not just the X and O's part, but how we go about things that are accepted within the program and practice habits and things like that. And I see the older guys reinforcing those things. So as a coach, we're not constantly having to get on those guys. They do it, and we can stay to the coaching and being very technical. And so our leadership from that standpoint has been very good.
For 2 years, you hear about people having opinions on whether Florida State is back in their terms.
Mm-hmm.
How do you measure this program?
I don't. I play ball. No, I mean, that keeps y'all's, that sells y'all's papers. I mean, they can't worry about if we're back. We just need to go play good football. I don't.
How's Glauser been at right tackle?
I've actually been pleased. I mean, the more he plays, I mean, he learns every day, and he's athletic, he's strong, he's battling. I've been very pleased with his progress he's made from spring to fall. I mean, very pleased. He and Menelik are doing Menelik did some really good things today, too. Those two guys I've been very pleased with.
Are you still trying a lot of things at right tackle, or is he sort of taking that?
No, those two guys are playing right now at right tackle, and they're doing some really good things. Stork's done a really good job at center. Gankers is inside at 312 pounds. He's done it. He's making the calls. He's doing a really good job inside. And those two guys have really shown some really good things at tackle.
What does that say about Bobby Hart?
He's playing at left tackle. He's playing some backup at left. He'll be at right, and he's going to be in the mix too. We got four guys. I feel we're getting four very quality tackles, in my opinion.
Is Bracey getting reps?
No. He just taking some of his leg where he had that pull. It should be hopefully in about another 3 or 4 days to a week. That's what they're telling me. But you know how pulls are.
Right.
I mean, you'll never know. But that's one of the things that that's person by person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You talked about Brooks getting comfortable at safety. Was there any thought after the situation with Greg about letting him play some corner, given that you have Carlos there too at safety?
Yeah, there was, and there is some. There's always those things, but safety's so much harder to learn in those calls. So we're going to adjust, and we're doing some other things at corner and some guys we feel comfortable with. But he could do that if he has to.
How's that competition? I mean, what have you seen from Nick? And is that
just every day working hard? Nick's done a great job, good effort making plays. The other guys, Ronald Darby's really stood out to me at times. You know, Keelan was doing before he got nicked up. So there'll be quite a few guys in that battle. Colin Blake, I like him as a young freshman. He's done some really good things.
Speaking of Greg, too, with the news yesterday, he got accepted to Valdosta State.
Extremely happy for him. Extremely happy for him, and hope he does very well. Wish him nothing but the best.